The waiter's hand shook. The glass tipped. A splash of red wine soaked the billionaire's wife's white designer dress. She stood up, furious. Everyone expected him to be fired, humiliated, ruined. But 24 hours later, the truth came out. And what this billionaire couple did next left the entire city speechless. Because that wine spill? It wasn't the end of his story. It was the beginning. It was Dylan's third shift. He wasn't supposed to be working that night. He had switched shifts with a friend so she could attend her daughter's school play. Dylan always said yes. He believed in kindness, even when it made life harder. The restaurant was no ordinary place. The Rose Elegante was where city elites dined behind velvet curtains. Tables were booked 3 months in advance. Mistakes weren't forgiven. Not here. Dylan ironed his borrowed shirt 3 times. His shoes were polished, but scuffed, years of wear showing beneath the shine. He didn't know it yet. But this night would change his life. At precisely 8 p.m., they arrived. James Sterling, billionaire real estate mogul, owner of half the city's skyline, and his wife, Claudia, ex-supermodel, fashion icon, and notoriously impatient. They were seated in the middle of the dining room. No one dared speak too loudly near their table, and unfortunately, Dylan was the one assigned to them. He approached carefully, hands sweating. A tray with a bottle of 1997 Bordeaux balanced in one hand, 2 crystal glasses in the other. "Would you like to sample the wine, sir?" Dylan asked, voice soft but steady. James nodded, distracted, scrolling through his phone. Dylan began pouring, but in a split second, the edge of the tray caught the corner of the tablecloth, and just like that, the full glass of red wine tumbled forward and splashed across Claudia's snow-white silk gown. Time slowed. Claudia stood up sharply. Gasps echoed across the restaurant. "Are you serious?" she snapped, her voice slicing through the air. "This dress is worth more than your month's salary." Dylan froze, hands trembling, face pale. He stammered, I'm so sorry, ma'am. I didn't mean." James stood now, too. Calm, cold, powerful. "How long have you been working here?" he asked flatly. "Do they not train you better?" Every eye in the room was on him. Dylan could feel his knees weaken. The manager rushed over, sweating. "Sir, please let me." But James raised a hand. Then, to everyone's shock, "Leave him. We'll continue our dinner." The room was confused. The manager looked stunned. Claudia said nothing. She just dabbed her ruined dress with a napkin, eyeing Dylan like he was beneath her heels. Dylan nodded, stepped back, and quietly returned to the kitchen, ready to cry. Hours later, after the couple had left and the restaurant had closed, the hostess handed Dylan a small envelope. Inside, a clean white card, embossed. No words, just an address, a time. 9 a.m., Sterling Tower, floor 88. Dylan blinked. Was this a prank? A lawsuit? A setup? He almost threw it away. But something told him to go. The next morning, Dylan arrived at Sterling Tower, the tallest building in the city. Dressed in the same clothes from last night, nervously out of place among suits and silk. He rode the elevator up floor by floor, past where he thought he belonged, until it dinged. 88. He stepped out, and there they were. James, Claudia, and 3 executives seated in a glass-walled boardroom. Claudia smiled. A real smile this time. "You came," she said. "Good." Dylan stood frozen. James leaned forward. "Let's make something clear. Dylan, that wine spill last night was no accident." Dylan blinked. "I don't understand." James explained. "Claudia and I have been interviewing candidates for our Human Impact Grant, a $1 million annual program to support young leaders with humility, composure, and heart. We've sat through hundreds of perfect resumes, polished smiles, and fake charm. But none of them showed us who they were when everything went wrong. You did," Claudia added. You stayed kind, even while embarrassed. You didn't lash out. You apologized with grace. You didn't blame the tray. You didn't walk away. And the way you treated your coworker last week, we know you covered her shift so she could be with her daughter. Dylan was speechless. James pulled out a folder. Inside, a job offer to work in their foundation, leading community impact programs. A starting salary of $125,000. Mentorship, housing, education, growth. What you spilled last night, James. Sighed. Wasn't wine. It was ego. And it showed us yours was the smallest in the room. Dylan stared. Was this real? I'm just a waiter, he whispered. Claudia smiled. Not anymore. Sometimes a mistake isn't a fall. Sometimes it's a door, because true character doesn't show when you're on stage. It shows when you're humiliated, when everyone's watching, when it would be easier to run, but you stay. And one small moment, one dropped glass, can reveal a heart worth more than any silk dress ever will. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, because you never know the person cleaning your table tonight might be the one saving your company tomorrow.